Hi, everyone. So today's work from home opportunity is going to be for none other than Airbnb. I do have multiple roles that I'm going to talk about today. And yes, these are going to be 100% work from home. The equipment is provided. And this is also a global company. So while the roles that we're going to look at today are going to kind of be targeted towards North America, this is a global company, and I will show you the other locations that they employ in. And of course, we're going to do the resume demonstration, and the resume templates are going to be down below in the description box if you need them. But please do not apply for this job until you have watched the resume demonstration and you know which hot words to use in your resume according to your experience. So for those of you that live outside of North America, they do have offices and roles in places like India, Spain, Germany, Canada, Mexico, Paris, Brazil, South Africa, Tokyo. So please do not ask me, are they hiring for other countries? Please just come to the website and look for your location to see which roles they have for your respective country. So now let's hop into the first one. So the first role that we're going to talk about today is going to be the privacy manager role. And it's pretty much what it sounds like. It is someone that manages the customer data privacy and ensures that the integrity of the data stays intact. So here it says that the privacy team is responsible for maintaining a world-class privacy program for the operations and to deliver a respected and trusted experience for the Airbnb community. This is just a fancy way of saying, hey, the people that use Airbnb, we want to make sure that those people are protected and that their privacy is protected, and that they don't have to worry about their data being leaked or anything like that. So basically, they're saying that you will work cross-functionally with different teams. It could be people in engineering, it could be people in data analytics, or you could be working with community support. Now, I want to emphasize that when it says that you work with like all these different teams, this is great because it means that you don't have to be a genius. You don't have to come up with any sorts of resolutions all by yourself. You've got all of these different teams and groups that you can work with to get the information that you need to have. Now, if you have a background in a call center, maybe you've worked in collections, maybe you've worked in billing support. Maybe you worked in loss prevention for Walmart. Perhaps you worked as a security officer in a personnel office. Those are all going to be types of roles where you were responsible for keeping data safe, for ensuring that either you followed certain guidelines or that you were aware of certain different types of compliance that you had to follow in order to maintain the integrity of, people's data and personal information. So again, if you work in loss prevention, you were responsible for making sure that people did not steal things, but you were probably also responsible for making sure that people were not, breaking into the back office, or that people were not, going into the office and taking records and things of that nature. So what you're going to do is you'll partner with Airbnb businesses. You may also do some research around things like regulatory inquiries and investigations. What that kind of means is people may say, hey, I want to delete my Airbnb account. What's going to happen to my data? Or, are you going to delete all of my data once the account is terminated? And you would say, well, according to our regulations, we're required to keep it on file for 7 days and then we terminate it, blah, 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 blah. I'm just making stuff up, but that would kind of be like, that puts you in the sense of what types of responsibilities you would have day to day. Something I wanted to emphasize down here is all of this stuff it's just like, it's a bunch of stuff that makes you think you're not qualified, but it's just like, it's Airbnb's like wish list of like a perfect candidate. No one ever has all of this stuff. Okay. So if you got 30% of the requirements, I would highly encourage you to apply. This whole certification thing, if you don't have that type of certification, most of the time the company will pay for you to get the certification, but sometimes it's not even necessary, as it says this certification is not required, but it's just preferred. It's a nice to have. So again, don't get caught up on stuff that they say isn't even required. If you've got any experience in like Excel or running reports, doing any type of like data entry, data analysis, that's going to be the big thing here. Okay. Again, understanding, like, even when you do like the Walmart onboarding training for like to be a cashier, a lot of that training has like compliance training in it, or it's got like anti-money laundering training in it, or it might have some abuse training in it, things like that. Those are going to still be very relevant aspects of experience. Now, what this job pays is $100,000 to $124,000. So this is a very high paying job. And a lot of you are saying, man, I'm like, I work at Walmart or I work at Wendy's, and, I also, have a little bit of training in being a security officer. So this is going to be a great transition, and it absolutely will be a great transition. And in addition, they do give you bonus and equity. So this is a really, really great role for somebody that wants to get more into tech, or more into like, the information security or data protection side of things. Again, you all have this experience. Even if you work in fast food or retail, you've still got this experience. So let's go ahead and look at the resume breakdown for this particular role. And some of the words, the hot words that were mentioned in the job description, I've highlighted them in red. But again, I do want to give a disclaimer. Please do not lie about your experience. Don't just copy this template. It's going to be in the description box for you to use as a guide, but please do not just copy and paste this and, be dishonest about your experience. Okay. So this is for Airbnb. I'll get rid of that. So some of the hot words that were mentioned were like privacy, engineering, legal team, and community support. One of the ways that you kind of get past the applicant tracking system is by having a certain amount of hot words on your resume. So that's why even if you don't have experience in something, you can still word it in a way to where it will at least trigger that applicant tracking system to pick up on some of the words in your resume. So excited to join Airbnb to contribute to the privacy team and collaborate with privacy engineering, legal, and community support teams. Some of the other words that we saw in the job description, privacy related inquiries. So maybe if you worked at TJ Maxx, you were a team lead. Maybe you worked in the back most of the time. You were just investigating little fraud alerts or inquiries for credit card transactions from customers. Maybe customers called in to say that they didn't authorize a transaction, and you had to investigate that. And you had to also, do things like maybe you did training, or, you had to ensure that there was some sort of regulatory or compliance rules that were being followed for the store or for your region or what have you. So again, you could have worked a totally regular job, but I'm telling you, this type of stuff that Airbnb is hiring for, you have the skill set for already. And again, down here at the bottom, if you've worked in any other, areas such as, for a bank or anything like that, you can put that down here, or you can put it in your additional skills. But yeah, that should be enough to kind of, give you enough words to increase your chances of that recruiter reaching out after you, submit your stuff in the applicant tracking system. So let's hop into the next role for Airbnb. And that role is going to be for a payroll analyst. Why can I not talk? A payroll analyst. So this role is also a very good role. Now, a lot of you may have worked, I don't know, let's say you worked at Burger King as a supervisor. You were responsible for, not only hiring people and running the restaurant, but you also had to do payroll every week. Okay, that's going to be really great experience that transfers over to something like this. Maybe you were a tax preparer, maybe you worked at H&R Block at some point, either doing, new account setups or audits, something of that nature. All of this is going to be very relevant experience. So for the job, it says that you're going to work as a payroll analyst to support the company's Live and Work Anywhere program by registering new states, doing audits, and reviewing employees' work and home states and making sure that they're correct in the system. So a lot of the times with people working from home, they'll get paid according to their region. So if you live in California, you get paid a lot more than if you live like in Texas per se, for example. And so they would make sure that if you say that you're living in Texas, that you're getting paid how much you're supposed to be getting paid, and that those taxes are being taken out according to the Texas state tax guidelines and not the California guidelines. So this shouldn't be too difficult for you to do because a lot of it is like kind of automated by the system to sometimes scan people's locations. But yeah, so that's one of the things that you may do. You may get questions about W-2 corrections. Someone may say, hey, my social security number isn't correct on my W-2, or maybe you've got my home state listed incorrectly. Could you, put in a request to have this corrected and to have this mailed out to me? Things of that nature. And you may do some end of the year in general, like payroll stuff, or you may have a request to do some unemployment paperwork for someone that no longer works for the company. So again, you don't really need the whole 5 years of complete payroll operations experience. Again, if you've worked in, a supervisory role at McDonald's or something where you actually did some payroll, this is going to be just as relevant as what they're saying here. The other thing, Workday. Workday it's used for a lot of different things, but it's used in this aspect for like filling out information on your W-2 form, like your social, your state, how much money you want to have taken out of each check, how many dependents you have. So you would probably work with that on a daily basis. So if you have never used Workday, just watch a YouTube video on it. It's not a complicated software to understand. It's for internal like payroll processing and stuff like that. I always have to use Workday. When I was working in corporate, it would be the first thing we would have to do as a new hire when we go in and fill out how many dependents we have and all that good stuff. So yeah, and be proficient in Excel and have good communication skills. So for this role, it's going to have a range of $90,000 to $112,000. So again, a very, very high paying role. And this is a great opportunity for you to transition into, tech. And, this is a little bit of accounting even if that's the path that you want to go in. So let's just look at the resume demonstration for that one, and let's look at some of the hot words. And again, please never lie about your experience or your skill set, blah, 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 because we're such honest people. We don't have to lie to get things that God has for us. Okay, so some of the hot words that we saw from that job description were, of course, payroll. We did see compensation. Some of the other hot words that we saw were like, let's see, We saw like RSUs. So again, this is just an example of what you can include based on your particular experience. And maybe you corrected W-2 information. See, again, this is a hot word, so we're just going to throw it in there if we've actually done that before. So anything additional that you have related to like payroll, you can just throw it here in your additional skills, whether you were doing auditing of payroll or distribution of unemployment, approval letters, blah, 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 you know, something to that effect. You can throw it down here because those were still some of the hot words that we saw in the job description. And of course, you could put that maybe you've got experience in Workday because that was also in the job description. So you just want to make sure you have a good, you know, like, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 hot words, however many you can come up with based on your experience to go in your resume. So again, I've just highlighted some of the hot words, but this is available down below in the description box. This template, pretty much all the templates that we talk about are in the description box. So again, if you all have any questions, please don't ever hesitate to ask. Let me know what other videos you'd like to see. But until the next time, I will see you in the next video. Bye.